Ashley from Notjustboxing here with Dave Coldwell. How are you doing, Dave?
Really good, mate. Really good. Happy to be out here.
So how are you finding today then? You landed this morning, right?
Yeah, I got here at 6 a.m. I don't sleep on planes, so it's been a struggle. But yeah, I'm loving being here. Great atmosphere tonight. Production and everything, unbelievable. It really is. And what a main event we've got. I just can't wait.
So before we get to the main event, I want to go over a few fights. Wardley Clark, the rematch. What's your view on that?
Do you know what? The first one was outstanding, and I just think that this one's going to be the same. They're both going to have gained from the experience from the first fight. You know, both fighters. I feel that Fabio was struggling with Fraser's jab in the early part of the first fight, and then Fraser, through possible inexperience, getting wrapped up in a tear-up, he went away from the jab. And also Fabio's unorthodox style in terms of big men, you don't get them being like that. And also boxing like that, but able to sustain it at that pace, throwing bombs for 12 rounds, incredible. I couldn't believe that he sustained it all the way through. I mean, he was dog tired, but he kept doing it, kept doing the same. He's very, very athletic for a big man to throw power punches, you know, for angles and loose armed, and he'll have gained from them 12 rounds himself. I just think, I don't know who wins, but I just think that Fraser's jab's a problem when he uses it. And also, he looks in better condition now. And I think perhaps conditioning might have let him down a little bit in that fight. If I had a gun to my head, I'd probably lean towards Fraser Clark, but I don't know.
So, for both these fighters, if you were in their camps, what would you be changing in their camps for the rematch for both Fabio and Fraser?
Number one is try not to let the emotions get to you a little bit, because I don't know what they've been working on in that gym, in their gyms. But when you allow emotions to get involved, the game plan and the thought process can kind of change. And that can be the key to success. Like I said, Fraser, the jab was a huge problem. But then he started going away from the jab, you know? Again, that can be an experience, fighting on that sort of stage. The most important thing is to be emotionless. I would want Fraser to work the body more, you know? It's a moving target, it's slippery, it's sliding around all over the place. Go to the body, you know? Not just defend with his hands up where Fab can punch through the gloves when he's throwing those combinations. A little bit more, you know, a little more trunk defense as well. Fabio, use the jab more. He's a great boxer, you know. Use the jab more behind, you know, orthodox power punching, and behind, you know, just set things up a little bit more. A few more feints, triggers. But I don't want him to change too much, because I want the same fight again. I'm a neutral, so I want the same fight.
Yeah, brilliant. So Riyadh season is always an upset. I'm not going to say I want you to call for an underdog that's probably going to cause an upset, but what would you say is going to be the closest fight on this card, which we might not particularly think? For example, Jack Massey facing Jai Pattaya.
I think Massey gives it Massey's proved that he's a very good fighter, and he's proved against somebody like Joseph Parker, you know, who's you know, naturally bigger than him. Pattaya is a different kettle of fish because he's sharp, fast triggers, sharp shooting, powerful. I really like Pattaya, but I feel as though they've got a little bit carried away. Not him, but the movement around him, where it's almost like seen as he's the second coming of Usyk. You know, he's not quite done that sort of thing yet. You know, I'm a very, very good fighter. I think he wins the fight. Don't get me wrong, but I think Jack can make it very, very awkward. Can make it tough for him. And also Jack's got that doggedness where if he's nice and tight, he's nice and clever, and he's firing downstairs to the body and it slows Optaya down. We know that Optaya can slow down towards the end of a fight. I don't think the occasional get to Jack Massey at all. I think if you go from where he was and what he boxed at to the Parker fight, you'd expect the occasion to get to him on that night. To go from the Parker fight and the occasion, the jump up in levels, to Optaya isn't the same jump. It's still a jump up in I'm not saying Optaya is not a better fighter, like I said, stylistic, not more difficult, but in terms of levels of jump, so to mentally fall apart and not handle the stage, it's not quite as big a jump. So I don't think the occasion will get to him. So it's just a case of whether he can be good enough ultimately.
What about Shirameta? He seems to be overlooked, where Eubanks already talking about his next fight.
Yeah.
You've got Liam Smith here as well. Everyone wants a bit of Eubanks.
Yeah, everyone.
Would you say
Eubanks
in the park?
Eubanks an absolute master when it comes to getting eyes on him. You know, nobody cared about his fight, and then he speaks at a press conference, and then same as Conor Benn, the masters are getting public attention. And boxing needs characters. Whether you like them or not, boxing needs characters. We need people to be, where you stop instead of scrolling up, you stop and you watch. And those two guys get it. The confrontation today between them, I don't see that being a banana skin. It was picked for a reason. Only thing you can say is, Eubank inactive again, but yeah, I don't think it's a banana skin at all. I think the one that's a banana skin could be Sky Nicholson against Raven Chapman. As long as Raven isn't headhunting and isn't irritated by Sky and Sky's confidence and smug grin. If that irritates her and she wants to rip her head off, then that'll play into Sky's hands, and then Sky will just pop her all night and outbox her. But if not, that's a fight that could turn out to be a really tough night. The 2 minutes helps Sky, but that's the one where you could have a banana skin, I think.
So the main event, Bivol Beterbiev.
I've said it before, I've chopped and changed so many times. For years, and I mean years, I've always been Bivol. And then I saw the changes stylistically in hand position defensively that Beterbiev had with Callum Smith. And I thought, that with his feet.
What changes were they?
Less gaps, better hand positioning, more discipline with it. It wasn't, a lot of times Arthur's intent on landing shots and he leaves a lot of gaps. But I thought with Smith had the height and reach, and he couldn't land the shots. He was catching, he was just dropping out of range, coming back with his distance and timing were fantastic. And he suffocates you. And then Beterbiev had the knee injury. And I was like, okay, at that age, I now lean towards Bivol again. Because I think that's a problem. And if it's a problem, then I think Bivol will be too sharp movement-wise and too disciplined. But I'm actually leaning towards Beterbiev because I think he'll have enough to make Bivol work and to just grind him down. And I think that's what happens. I think it ends up being, I think the first part of the fight is all Bivol, but I think as he slows, it's a wear and tear of the punches, a cumulative effect. Arms, shoulders.
We have
ribs.
seen Bivol against the ropes, against multiple opponents that don't hit like Beterbiev.
Yeah. And the thing about Beterbiev, when he gets you on the ropes, he doesn't just look for that one big shot. He's not even trying to set. It's not like he's setting up for one big shot. He'll throw a flurry, bam, bam, bam. They're all heavy-handed enough to knock you out of position. So then a heavy-handed shot cleans you out. And it's the volume. And Yeah, I think Beterbiev wins the fight, but I don't know. And I'm a big fan of Bivol, always have been. I love his style of boxing, but I don't know if he's never had to show it, so I don't. This is probably why I'm probably leaning towards that. He will have to show an element of toughness that I've not seen before because he never had to, and just because you've never had to doesn't mean that you can't. But I've not seen it, so I'm going to go with Beterbiev. Long-winded answer, I know. Sorry about that.
No, it's so hard to pick. That's that's why we're all so excited.
But then tomorrow on the ring walk, I might change your mind.
Yeah.
Because on the ring walk of Dubois AJ, I looked at Dubois. I was like, I just said to my wife, I went, Dubois is knocking him out. You just don't know.
Yeah. He meant business.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but that's boxing and that's opinions. We've all got opinions, and I don't mind being wrong as long as it's a good fight.
So what's going on with you? What's going on with your stable? What you got coming up?
So I was having Dan Howard and Ellis Price on October 25th, but that date's just been moved. So I think that's been put back. I don't know if they've announced it, so I don't know if I can say it, but that's just been moved a couple of weeks. Then I've got Stephen Cairns on November 15th for Queensbury and TNT. And Hopi Price is back in the gym. Now he's just had his first week where he's back being able to train consistently through the week without the pains and the aggravations and the injuries. So I'm happy to get all that done. And Lerone Richards is just looking towards get out probably in December.
Brilliant. Is there anything that you do out of the gym with your fighters to teach them certain ways, anything, whether it's discipline, educating them with watching tape?
Things like that. Sending them clips, little breakdowns, sending them, giving them homework. I might be watching something myself. I'll clip something, send this to that fighter. We've always been a thinking gym, that's just how it's always been, really, to be honest. That's why I think you need to be an intelligent sort of fighter, or want to study, want to do a little bit of homework outside the gym, to be able to work with me.
So, if Bivol was your fighter, and you were going to give him a little bit of homework leading up to the Beterbiev fight, what would be the main points you would be telling him?
It's not just that. You've got to master the feet. It's all about the feet, and because they've both got great. So you don't have, when you're in against someone that's got fast feet, you don't have to have as fast the feet as them in order to combat that and to make that play into your hands. It's about positioning, placing, being able to get yourself in that range where you're touching them. You don't have to be blasting them, but be able to touch it. You know your range all the time. You can be calm, you can be comfortable, and you don't have to have fast feet. Golovkin didn't have fast feet. Beterbiev haven't got fast feet, but they've got very, very good feet. And just like that, when you are perceived to have faster feet, you can't automatically think and assume that that's going to be enough to beat this man and to keep at range. You've got to see how he places his feet, and as well as the hand position and seeing the gaps. What they're doing. It's not rocket science. Fighters and coaches have been studying fighters for years. Individually, you've got that. But also, I'm a big believer in just because you see a certain way that a fighter can be beat, doesn't mean that your fighter's got the tools to do that. You have to work to what the tools your man's got. You can have a fighter that's great on the back foot, and not so good on the back foot, should I say? But you're a back foot fighter and you don't know how to press the action without walking onto shots, without making mistakes. If you haven't got the tools, you're not going to make that pay. And vice versa. There's game plans have to work in tune to what tools you've got to work with. And that's why boxing, it's not rocket science, but also it's not as black and white as sometimes what it can be.
Do you see both men adapting in the ring tomorrow night constantly?
Yeah, because they're elite level fighters. These are elite guys. So, you know, there's a lot of brains in there. People think that Beterbiev is just power. They think it's boxing versus power, the monster versus the boxer. No, he's smart. He's supremely smart. You know, he's so intelligent.
And hundreds of amateur fights against his style.
But also because if you just look at his style, that's why he gets underrated, because people will just think he's very crude. His feet are shit and they're slow. Oh, he's not. These punches he's throwing, and they think, oh, it's nothing. No. So it's not just about how somebody looks. It's you know, appearances can be deceiving.
So lastly, obviously Joshua's coming off a big knockout loss. There's talks of an immediate rematch. Do you think he should go for the immediate rematch? Do you think that's...
No, not for me, but that's my opinion, and like we always say, you know, everyone's got an opinion. Don't mean that it's wrong, don't mean that it's right. I don't think he should do, but I understand why he wants to.
What would you do if you had the chance to pick for him?
I just wait and see what happens December 21st. And if the Fury fight is on the table, take the Fury fight.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, thank you for your time, mate.
Cheers,
Appreciate
mate.
it.
Nice one. Cheers.